right, all you graveyard shift workers, and especially you listeners of the madness out there, welcome back to Under the Radar. And just as a little bit of a heads up, just in case you haven't figured it out, this will not be the last pay-per-view we will review before this year is out, because as of next week, we will be reviewing the pay-per-view of WrestleMania 25, a part of Retromania for the 5-year anniversary of Under the Radar. So yeah, we got our work cut out for us for the end of the year, folks, and I don't think we're slowing down anytime soon. But before we get to that magical day, folks, I think it's time for us to take out our left-handed scissors to cut out some very interesting newspaper clippings for another edition of yesterday's news. And in our first yesterday's news story, and in sad news from the world of late-night television, it looks like the sidekick of one Chelsea Handler unfortunately died this week at the age of 63 years old by the name of Chuy. And yes, folks, I do remember watching this show when my sister used to watch it back in the day, which was a show known as Late Night with Chelsea, and all of the funny shenanigans this guy would usually get into. And to this day, I think one of my favorite ones they did probably had to be the horse riding stunt on Chelsea lately. Neither that or the one with the Olympics where Chuy was on a miniature bobsled in the studio. That was probably some of the funniest things I've ever seen on Chelsea lately with this guy. But for those who didn't know, he was also a part of several movies along the lines of Austin Powers Goldmember. Also, along with that, he was a part of Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, and also part of the movie known as The Honeymooners. And every single movie this guy was in, he definitely provided laughs for days for anybody who watched Chelsea lately or any of the movies that we listed during this said part of the show. And we here at the Under the Radar would like to say, on behalf of Chuy, may your work live on forever, and may you forever rest in peace. And in other news, and in more bad news from this past weekend, folks, for you fans out there of the movie Do the Right Thing, along with other movies like Once Upon a Time in America, The Bronx, and Fort Apache, the man known as Danny Aiello unfortunately died this week, or more or less last week, the same with Chuy, at the age of 86 years old. And yes, I do remember younger days in my life, I was actually able to watch this movie on HBO, and funny enough, this movie came on directly after Hellraiser, so it caught me a little bit by left field, but still probably one of my most favorite Spike Lee joint movies, besides Above the Rim. And Maestro said he's not too entirely sure if Spike Lee made that movie, but either way, still a classic movie that featured Danny Aiello. And oh, and thank you for reminding me, Maestro, he also was a part of the movie known as The Godfather Part 2 as Tony Rosto, doing a hit on behalf of Michael Corleone during that said film against Frank Pentageli during that movie. And for those who didn't know as well, he was also featured during the music video as the father of Madonna in Papa Don't Preach. Yeah. And in his later years, he was also featured in the movie Brooklyn Lobster, and probably another one of my favorite sleeper hit movies that we do have to review in the future for the Indie Radio Arcade, of Lucky Number 11. That actually included, of all people, Morgan Freeman in that said film. Yeah, a lot of great actors in that movie, so we definitely have to review it in the future. But I digress, folks, because we here at Under the Radar, on behalf of Danny Aiello and his legendary movie and music video career, would like to say, may your work live on forever, and may you forever rest in peace. And in some good news, hopefully to wrap up this news part of the show on a high note, folks. For you fans out there of the Fast and the Furious and always wanted to do a couple of the cool stunts and races that was featured in all of the collective Fast and Furious movies, well, I have some good news for you. Because it's been announced as of this past week, folks, that they will be making a Fast and Furious game entitled Fast and Furious Crossroads that will feature Michelle Rodriguez, Vin Diesel, and even none other than, I keep on forgetting his name. He does songs, Tyrese Gibson, who will also be featured in this said game as well. And I can't wait to see all of the crazy stunts that was featured throughout all 9 movies that took place during this series that will be featured in this game. Yeah, and it's hard to believe that there was 9 different versions of Fast and the Furious. They've almost reached Hellraiser status with all the movies they've done for that series, but the fact that you get a chance to do all the cool stunts in those said movies along with the races and a character that you get a chance to play alongside with these actors, it's pretty cool, it really is. And for any of you out there who's wondering, this game will be available on all systems across the board with the exception of the Wii as of next spring in May of 2020. And a lot of people are speculating that this will come out prior to the movie on May 22nd, but hey, who knows? But for those out there who wants to find out if it is gonna come out before the said movie on May 22nd, or even check out the trailer for yourselves, you can head on over to the website only known as GameInformer.com to check it out for yourselves. And I can't wait to see if this game is sort of like Stuntman, because I'm getting a real Stuntman feel from this game with half the stunts you get a chance to do. And with that said, folks, wraps it up for another edition of yesterday's news. And we'll be back with more madness as Under Radar continues right after this. So don't touch that dial just yet, folks, and stay tuned.